Nasir, can social media help bridge the gap under, of course, unemployment? For more about the avenues to bridging this gap, the unemployment gap, we have joining us via Abuja Studios the Director General, National Directorate of Employment, Dr. Nasir Mohammed. I'd like to thank you for joining us at this time. My first question to you is, do we have a mass unemployment crisis in Nigeria?
Well, thank you very much. When you talk of mass unemployment crisis, it's not just in Nigeria. It's a global issue. Recently, we attended a program in DC whereby it was made mention that for the whole world to get out of unemployment crisis, there is the need to create 5 million jobs on monthly basis, which amount to 600 million on yearly basis. So issue of unemployment is not just in Nigeria, but it's a global issue. But as far as I'm concerned, in Nigeria, we're trying as much as we can. The government is doing enough to see that at least the level of unemployment is brought to the lowest bearable level. Thank you very much.
But many have criticized government's efforts. I mean, many are asking, what are your strategies to curbing unemployment and why aren't they working? Because figures from NBS, for example, says over 20 million, as at the third quarter of 2018, of young people are looking for jobs.
You see, with the government program of ease of doing business in Nigeria, and the last time we had a meeting with the statistician of the Federation, he made mention that there are over 30 million SMEs in Nigeria. So if these 30 million SMEs in Nigeria can be encouraged or assisted by government to at least create one job, I believe the issue of unemployment can be solved. And various government agencies like NDE, SMEDEN, Industrial Training Fund, and what is being done under the Office of Vice President, that is the Empower programs and the rest. Nobody can tell me that the level of unemployment in this country is not reducing. In fact, it is reducing drastically. If I can give you an example, for NDE, as far as we are concerned, even from our MIS program, Microeconomic Enhancement Scheme, our target is to at least empower 370,000 Nigerians, 10,000 per state. And it's a multiplier effect because it's like a revolving fund. We give you cash to start your own business with zero interest. By the time you realize the total number of people involved and the time they paid and other people that were given, when you multiply that by month, by year, by 10, as Mr. President said, we're trying to take out at least 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in the next 10 years. In NDE alone, if you look at our various programs, at least from NDE alone, we are looking at, within that period of 10 years, between 25 to 30 million. Then think of other agencies like SMEDEN, like Industrial Training Fund, the Empower, and the rest of them. So I believe issue of unemployment, with careful monitoring and careful management of resources, it will be issue of the past in Nigeria.
Unemployment and underemployment rates vary across states, and this is according to the nature of economic activity, at least a few experts have said, predominant in each state, which make up, the Federal Republic of Nigeria. How would you evaluate state government's impact to the unemployment crisis, seeing as a higher number of youth unemployed are from the rural areas?
You see, we are trying as much as we can. And thank God, we have a lot of cooperations apart from the one given to us by the federal government. To be frank with you, there is nothing we ask for from the government as far as making it easy for us to do our jobs that has not been given to us. And a lot of constituency and zonal intervention projects coming from the distinguished senators and honorable members, National Assembly, we discuss with a lot of them for the need so that they can put most of their constituency and zonal intervention projects to do with training and resettlement of young men and women within their constituencies. And I'm telling you, the response is excellent. So with what is being done by the government and what is coming from the Members' National Assembly, I believe we are going to win the war as far as unemployment is concerned.
Tell us about social media. It's fast becoming an avenue, platform for people to sell their goods, for some entrepreneurs to thrive. Do you see social media as a tool to reduce youth unemployment in Nigeria?
Yeah, you see, it's a very good omen, because if you look at the number of followers as far as social media is concerned, for NDE, I'm telling you, we're in collaboration with onedial.com, also with InterSwitch and MTN Yellow Clinic. For onedial.com, I know they started with just 60,000. But as I'm talking to you, they have about 48,000 people working to do with mobile money transfer in the rural areas. So it's a good omen. The only issue is that you know how social media operates. There should be a law that regulates it to some extent. Otherwise, the whole exercise will be baseless. Some people will just use it to harass or to intimidate other people. If there is a law regulating it, I believe it's a good omen, because it's the quickest way that people can be reached. Outreach, as far as social media is concerned, is excellent.
I must finally ask you what your agency is doing. The president has said repeatedly of the efforts of his government to uplifting 100 million out of poverty in 10 years. How much assurance can you give the people of Nigeria that the next statistics coming from the NBS will show lower unemployment rates for the country?
My sister always said it. What we said we are doing in NDE, we are doing it. What we have done, what we are doing, and what we are about to do, we are open to the whole world, not just to Nigerian press. They can go and scrutinize and see what we are doing. I tell you one thing, the fact that the government is happy with what we are doing. Recently, we got a special approval by the federal government to recruit and train 1,000 young men in 5 local governments in 8 states across the country. So we're talking of 5,000 young men, total number 40,000, to be trained in various forms of agriculture, because we have a special program called SATS in NDE. It has to do with modern techniques, to train young men and women on modern techniques. We're also in collaboration with the Great Green Wall Agency, whereby some of them will be engaged in planting trees. So as far as I'm concerned, government is doing great. The Sustainable Agri-Development Training Scheme of NDE is doing great, because ICT and agriculture, these are areas that you can create massive employment because of the value chain. So we are concentrating more. Thank you again.
But we would like to thank you at this time, because we must go on a break now. Thank you so much, National Directorate of Employment, the DG, Mr. Nasir Mohammed. Thank you for coming on the program. Still to come, we'll bring you a piece of the election atmosphere ahead of the Kogi and Bayelsa governorship elections. Join us again.